Hello, my beautiful bookish people. This video is going to be a constructive criticism of the Reading Rush official apology as published as of, I believe it was late in the day on July 30th, 2020. I want to start out by saying that while I cannot accept points 1 or 2 that they make in this apology, I am going to break down the text that is given in a constructive manner based off of my last video about what consists of a good apology, which I will link down in the description. What I can provide direct comment on is the third piece, because as a member of the disabled community, I don't feel heard, and I felt like it was appropriate for me to talk about it. So let's break this apology down. I have a few criteria which I have highlighted, and yes, I know this is going to be difficult to see and read, so I will be reading it and providing commentary at the same time. But these criteria are: red flag. If this shows up, is probably not a good sign. We have yellow flags where I'm unsure of whether the statement is true or not, which we'll get into later. We have acknowledging the offense. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. We have provision of an explanation, which does not blame the victim and only conveys that it was unintentional and will not happen again. We have express remorse, which does not include phrasing that skirts the subject, such as, "that was uncharacteristic of me." That would be an example of skirting the subject and not expressing remorse. And the last one is making amends, which is an action to show how this won't happen again. So let's break this down some. Starts out as, to the Reading Rush community. Okay, I'm a part of that. Let's go. We wanted to reach out to thank everyone who participated in our event this year. We've received some important feedback over the past few days, and in order to be transparent, we want to respond and share the actions we'll be taking to do better in the future. Please know that these are explanations, and I'm going to stop there. Providing an explanation, yeah, this, so far all we've gotten is an explanation. The next words are not excuses. Red flag number 1. If you feel like you need to say in your apology that these aren't excuses, chances are you may have worded something wrong that doesn't convey exactly what you want to convey. And by taking this tone this early on into the apology, it makes it seem like this isn't about to be remorseful, which is kind of the point to an apology, because it's generally to convey your remorse and say how you'll do better and presumably ask for forgiveness, or at least that's kind of how I tend to think of apologies. So we already not off to a great start. Next it says, we value each of you and we are taking your feedback to heart. This I have as a yellow flag because of a comment that I've seen on my previous video, which I've already talked about. I was told that a person has witnessed Ariel, one of the founders, blocking Black creators who are sharing their grievances. I am not a direct witness to this. I don't have Ariel's side of the story, but since it was brought to my attention, I felt like I should bring that up. I don't think that we should automatically insert our own thoughts on this here, which is to say, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt that hopefully this is truthful, that they really are taking feedback to heart where it is constructive feedback. So hopefully I don't get blocked for making this video, because all I'm trying to do is provide some constructive criticism by breaking this down into bite-sized pieces and explaining how I think this could have been done a little bit better. Alright, the next thing we have is the most important thing we've learned is that to prevent these types of missteps, okay, we're acknowledging the offense, we've got acknowledgement of missteps, we need to have a more diverse team behind the scene to help us ensure that moments like these don't happen again. This is kind of making amends, but I like to see things that are actionable when making amends. Foreshadowing. I'm going to be saying that a lot. I want to know how they're going to make sure they have a diverse team. Saying that they want a diverse team is nice, but how are you going to accomplish that? Now we're going to move into the first section. We know that we disappointed many of you when we did not finish our book club choice, Such a Fun Age, in time for our live show. This is acknowledging the offense. Amidst hosting the event, we failed to finish the book and did not recognize at the time why it should have been our first priority. It was unprofessional for us to not finish it, but especially hurtful considering that the novel is by a Black author and is about performative allyship. This provides an explanation. You might say it expresses some remorse, but I'm not getting direct remorse out of this. I'm seeing acknowledgement that it was hurtful. I'm not seeing an acknowledgement of we're so sorry we did this. The next thing, we've learned we need to be more thoughtful about our allyship and to find better solutions for our time management. This is again kind of making amends, but how are you going to go about finding solutions for your time management? How are you going to improve your allyship? I'm not seeing actions. And again, not sure that I'm seeing remorse here. Just because you're making an apology does not automatically mean that the apology is remorseful. I like to see it explicitly expressed, and I'm not sure that I'm seeing that here. Moving on to the second point. We are both Canadian hosts and did not know about Juneteenth until June 19th, 2020. Our video was scheduled to go live the morning of June 19th, and it wasn't until a few hours later that we were informed that it was a day of remembrance and should be used as an opportunity to support and prioritize Black voices. Pretty darn well acknowledged the offense here, I think. It's pretty direct. The next thing we have is, as soon as we were made aware, I'm going to stop there. This is providing an explanation, and even the part where they acknowledge the offense was also providing an explanation. Sometimes these things are intertwined. Whether you like the explanation or not is up to you, but this is what they have deemed as their explanation. And then we go into the next part. We unlisted the video and issued an apology. This I flag as making amends. There's not a whole lot else for making amends for that piece because it's happened in the past. That is what happened. That was their amends. Whether you like it or not, again, up to you, especially own voices, not up to me. Next bit, we've learned that we need to be more cognizant of when we post our content and regret. And I'm going to stop there. We're still expressing some remorse here. This is the first explicit remorse that I'm seeing. The next word is if. Red flag. Let me read it in its full context. And regret if our announcement video distracted from the larger messages of the day. If is the wrong conjunction here. You are making an apology. People called you out. It's not if it caused an offense. It did cause offense. It did distract from the message. It's not if it distracted from the message. And again, I'm getting to be a broken record here. It would be nice to see another form of making amends of how you are going to prevent this in the future. What steps are you going to take to make sure you're not doing this? If I were you guys, I would probably say before I schedule the next video to go out, I'm going to Google what happens on the day that I'm thinking of the release date to see if it conflicts with things that should be given priority. Something along those lines. And now we'll move on to the final point that I can provide some knowledge on as a disabled person. I can decide whether or not I think that this is appropriate because I was directly affected. Our reading challenges were designed in January before we understood the full ramifications and realities of the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, this is providing an explanation. As it unfolded, we felt that our challenge to read a book outside could still be completed safely while social distancing, and our intention was never to encourage people to be unsafe. You're acknowledging the offense to a degree. You're acknowledging that it could have put people in unsafe situations. You didn't acknowledge that a portion of the disabled community also reached out to say, hey, I can't even do that, which makes me sad. I feel unseen here. It would have been really nice if we'd seen some mention of that, but let's go into making amends. We issued an update to our challenge and encouraged people to adapt it to whatever method works best for their situation. I'm going to stop it there for a second. This is what I originally appreciated and why I said initially that I felt seen. Seeing a reiteration of this, though, yes, you're saying that that was how you made amends. You tried to make it more inclusive, but you're not saying the full context of why you made it more inclusive, which kind of rubs me the wrong way. And, I mean, we're almost to the end of this, and I'm not seeing an expression of remorse yet, but let's move on. But we've learned that we need to be more mindful and inclusive when designing our reading challenges and activities. This is still somewhat making amends. I'm still a broken record here. How exactly are you going to be more inclusive? What steps are you going to take? Give me actionable checkbox items that I can see here, please. And moving on to the last bit that is no longer part of the bullet points. We hope that this information gives context for why these missteps occurred, but also shows what we've learned from these mistakes. We're getting a provision of explanation. If we continue hosting the Reading Rush, we will make sure to have more input from voices that aren't our own to better diversify the decisions we make. We will ensure that our decisions are seen by more perspectives than our own, and will make sure to have inclusions as our top priority in every step. This is somewhat making amends. Again, I'm a broken record. These aren't actionable items. How you gonna do it? Over the past 7 years, we've gone from a small project to an event with 14K participants, and I'm going to stop it there. This is again a provision of an explanation. Moving on. We know that we have a responsibility to make sure that we are inclusive in every aspect of our event. Acknowledging the events. All right. And then it says, thank you to everyone who participated and shared your reading with us. It's amazing to see how much everyone reads and creates during the week. We treasure this week and this event and hope you trust that we've learned from this moment. With love, Ariel and Raylene. And honestly, this is just more them wrapping it up and going for pathos here. Pathos being emotion, trying to say, hope you see that we've learned something, when I'm not sure. I know that they've learned something. I'm not sure how they're going to apply what they've learned. And what rubs me wrong the most is that there is very little expression of remorse. I'm going to say it again like I said it earlier. Just because you're making an apology does not make it remorseful. That's not a given. It needs to be explicit. And I saw very little area that I could qualify as being explicit. The red flag at the very beginning was, this is a list of an explanation, not an excuse. To me, with the third one, it didn't come across like it wasn't an excuse, because there wasn't a lot of remorse explicitly said. And now, after reading this, I'm not sure that I ever want to participate in the reading rush again. I think I just found out about it this year. I could have completely blanked on it last year, I don't know. But I need to see some real growth. I need to see how they make amends before I feel like my trust is reestablished to participate again. I appreciate that they are attempting to learn, and they have attempted to apologize, but after logically breaking it down, I'm not sure how well that comes across. And seeing as how I don't really feel seen by the one point that I can accept, I'm not sure that I do. So if you've made it to this part in the video, leave me something fun that lifts your spirits down in the comments section below. Please, if we further this conversation, this is constructive criticism. This is for teaching and for growth. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye.